Greetings, friends! I have been knees-deep in the muds of the land of the cyst lately, breathing in the atmosphere and becoming one with the environment. But that is not why are you here, aren't you? Let's get to the point of this video. As some of you may already know, I love playing Turnip28. To do that you need an army, part of which you have seen me build. But building doesn't end there, my fellow hobby enthusiasts. This game demands some specific pieces of terrain to be built also. Probably the most important type of terrain is dangerous terrain, most often depicted as treacherous bogs that will be the end of any soldier that doesn't mind his step. This is one of the first batch of dangerous terrains I have made, and with great care I might add. It is a swamp with twisting roots, glowing mushrooms and various types of tufts. The water is just Vallejo still water mixed with some color to make it more murky. These waters swallowed many lives, just like your mother did. But no great joke can make up for the flaws of these terrains. The roots, mushrooms and tufts are nice, but they make it hard for some minis to balance on them. And what's worse, I kinda miscalculated when choosing the material for the base. It is made of hard cardboard, which got all warped and bendy the moment it got little moist. It can still sit on the table, but I can see it and it drives me insane. So to fix this, I made a second batch. This time I used hard plastic foam as base and included less details, so the pieces are less painful to deal with during gameplay. Simple but beautiful. Other types are cover and defensible terrain. With these I have made same mistakes. Warpy cardboard base and thick walls difficult to balance miniatures on. Also I got poked by these spikes so many times I cannot even count it. That reminds me of your mother again! But anyway, I made another, sleeker version made of hard plastic foam. Makes gameplay way easier. When it comes to impassable terrain, I just use anything available in my friendly local game store. Well, I thought I got terrain covered for the most part, except for some mission-specific pieces. But recent expansion shook things a little. The new type of terrain was added, destructible terrain. At first there were multiple types of it, but recently it was reduced to HOVELS only. And that is what I am going to build today. So to use words of one great artist,
we built some terrain! Yeah!
I started with the bases. Well, they are not exactly bases, as I am starting to run out of hard plastic foam, so I just cut it into strips and glue them into rectangular shapes of various sizes. On top of them, I built some walls made of hard cardboard. It is not my first choice for building material, and I have already mentioned my issues with it, but I decided to give it one last chance. For some wall sections, I used styrofoam carved to look like a wall. I want some of these hovels to look like they have been built on top of some old crumbled stone walls. Also, some cans were incorporated to create little towers. Then I added some foam bricks to break things up a little and add a little detail on the walls. When that was done, it was time for wooden bits. I cut some coffee stirrers to create little planks to make doors and window shutters. This part was a little tedious and took me probably the longest time. I didn't want shutters to be just two planks glued together. To separate individual shutters, I added little frames around them. I had to do it like 30 times until I was done. Then I started gluing them on the walls along with the doors. When all windows and doors were glued on, I closed off the roof section with more wooden sticks. For this one owl in particular, I used milliput into which I imprinted tiles with texture roller. And then I glued together a little wooden house on top of it. Then I went for further details on the rest of the buildings. brick frames around the windows and doors. I mostly used cut little pieces of hard plastic foam board, but also I used some styrofoam and milliput too. Now for the roof tiles. I cut stripes of EVA foam to make them. Seen this technique on YouTube. Bill making stuff, I think. Having the tiles cut on the stripes helped a great deal and it made process way faster. While gluing the tiles, I remembered I should also add chimneys. So I made few using plastic tube and carved some out of styrofoam, and then glued them as I went. When the roof tiles were done, I covered the walls in texture. I used 50-50 mix of texture paste and texture paste medium. I think it makes texture less gritty, more easy to work with. And also I am a cheapskate and I want to save some of my texture paste this way. And that was the last step of the building process. So let's get to painting! I used brown spray can and also white from above. So I don't have to use too much paint to cover the black tiles. Paint job was very simple. Dark brown on the bricks and the same color but thinned down on wooden bits. Then I painted the roofs of the buildings red. Gave everything a dry brush with lighter brown color and off-white. Some metallics with dirty down rust where it was needed. As a final touch, I stained the bottoms of the owls with muddy texture. This building was originally a test piece. It is only one overgrown with roots. Those I decided to ditch during the process of building the other hovels. Lazy decision to make my life easier. And it's done! Well, I admit these are not exactly the types of structures that come to mind when you hear the word hovel. Maybe I should have made them more crooked and ramshackled. But there was no time for creative decisions like these. My goal was to create something quickly so I can use it in the game and try it out in new missions as soon as possible. The whole thing took me a month to complete though. But anyway, aside from that, I love how they came out. Even though they are not the most hovelly hovels, I think they are cute little houses and they fit perfectly in the settlements of the cyst. Can't wait for them to cause some panic when they crumble and fall during Shattered Lands missions. And speaking of Shattered Lands expansion, I am real excited about the new stuff it brings to the table. So for my next video, I will make one of the new cults. I already have some ideas for each one of them, and at the time of releasing this video, I am currently working on the first one. So wish me luck, but most of all, wish me I work fast, so my next video is out soon. It is gonna be a banger, I promise. While you wait for my next upload, you can do whatever you want, but also, you can throw me a buck on Ko-fi.com to help fund my occasional miniature spending spree. But that is purely optional. What is not optional is that you should get off YouTube now and go build or paint, just create something. So, when you watch my next video, that new army of yours is finally finished. And that is all for today. Send your mother my best regards. Bye!